Hey, if you enjoy our videos, we sure would appreciate a thumbs up right here. That would really help us out. Well, welcome back to the channel. We're going to do something we have not done before. I've learned that some of our most popular videos are the snow plowing videos. We all like to watch that kind of thing. So what I want to do is talk about what's been the most significant snowfall in all my years of living in Western New York. Now, I'm going to talk about the Christmas blizzard of 2022, almost 2 years to the day. Got a lot of really cool videos and pictures. At the time, I had my Kubota BX, and I soon learned after about 5 minutes of being out in this storm that it was too much for that little tractor. I'm also going to show you some pictures and videos of around the Western New York area, what happened. And I'm also going to get a lot of pushback from longtime residents here that are going to tell me that the blizzard of '77 was worse than the blizzard of 2022. And in a way, they're going to be right. Now, that blizzard, the snowfall in it was less than a foot. The blizzard of 22 was anywhere from 4 to 6 feet.
Up ahead you can see a really intense lake effect snow band dumping very heavy snow on Buffalo, and then above that, clear skies. The stars are even showing up.
I'm not talking about drifting snow, I'm talking about fallen snow. Now, we had a huge drift in front of, not the barn, we didn't have the barn at that time, but in front of the garage door that completely covered the door. It was over 7 feet tall in the blizzard of 2022. In 1977, what happened, we had a very snowy December. Lake Erie was frozen, so there was a tremendous amount of snow sitting on the lake. We had hurricane force winds come across Lake Erie, picked that snow up and deposited all over Western New York. So what happened was, in that event, we had drifts of 20 and 25 feet. So was that more debilitating to the Western New York region than 2022? Yeah, it was. But what I'm talking about in this video is snowfall and my ability to remove or move the snow and how it was hampered at that time. We'll go into more detail on it, what the weather conditions were coming into the storm, and how predictions kept getting worse and worse and worse as we got closer to Christmas Eve.
You know, we've talked about a lot of winter storms. You really don't know what you're dealing with until it arrives, and that's why it's important to stay tuned in to you.
Yeah, and I've been doing this for about 22 years. I'll just call it like I see it, right?
It started when he was 5.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But this storm, I believe, is definitely going to be one for the books.
Now, we knew the storm was going to be bad. They gave us sufficient warning. They were calling for 2 feet of snow, not 4.
We'll start to have wind gusts that approach 65 miles an hour. And when the lake effect bands develop, most likely into the city or the north towns initially, zero visibility and localized blizzard conditions certainly will be not only possible, but probable.
And it started to hit the 23rd, and by the 24th, it was an out-and-out blizzard. I mean, you could not see your hand in front of your face. So I was debating at that time. I knew snow was accumulating in the driveway. If I let it set, I'm going to have a real problem. Plus the fact, going into the storm, it was very warm, so the snow coming down was wet and heavy. And the longer that snow sits there, it compresses, right? So it becomes very difficult to move. So I remember communicating with my neighbor, and are you going to go out? I don't know. Are you going to go out? Finally, Tess, my wife, put down her foot and said, no, you're not going out in this. Because my thought was I wanted to try to remove at least some of it because I knew it was going to continue right on into Christmas Day. I didn't go out. I didn't have a cab on the tractor at that time, and in a way it was a mistake because it got so much that I simply could not move it with the BX. Decided to go out, well, had to go out on Christmas morning. We opened up our gifts. It was a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. I mean, you won't find a more Christmassy scene that we found on that Christmas morning. But we had all the snow. I still was not clear exactly how much we had. We hadn't gone out. But I had made the decision, or it was made for me, that I was not going out Christmas Eve. My neighbor did. I don't know how he did it. He had a snow blower, a Honda, which is a great machine. And so the snow that he had in his driveway was about half of what I had. And the way it worked out was great. He's a great neighbor. He actually came over to help me, and I'm on the BX. So what happened was when I came, I had a small shed that I kept the BX in. I came out of the shed, dropped my front bucket, couldn't move. The snow was over the top of the BX. It was heavy, and I thought, my Lord, what am I going to do? The only way I was able to do the driveway was bucket by bucket. It took me 3 hours of what normally takes me 20 minutes to do. Bucket by bucket. And then it got to the point where the snowbanks were so high, it was beyond the reach of the BX, and my driveway was starting to constrict. I couldn't open the whole driveway. There was no place to put the snow. So as I said, as I'm doing that, my neighbor came over, and with that Honda, he was able to get that 7-foot drift in front of the garage door. Thanks to you, Eric. I do appreciate it still to this day. Our front porch and front sidewalk, Tess, you'll see in these pictures, and my son Brian, it took them nearly 3 hours to clear that. It was over their head in spots. Matter of fact, looking out the windows on Christmas morning, the snow was coming up about a third of the window length. So I mean, I knew we were in for a long day. I did not know how the BX was going to be limited. I really didn't. I knew it was going to be tough. I didn't know that there was no way to push the snow. I tried everything, going halfway up, pushing. I would just get stuck. So the only thing that worked, as I said, was bucket by bucket clearing the snow. I think it's also important to point out, I did have chains on the tires. Although if you look on the right rear, you'll see I threw a chain. I also had the tires filled with beet juice, so I did have some rear ballast. Probably not as much as I should have had, but I did have some. So what are the results of this storm today? How does it affect us? Well, my kids and Tess had never seen snow like that. You know, I had been through the blizzard of 77. 78 was actually a very snowy year too. I remember we had almost 200 inches of snow. We generally, our average is in the high 80s to 90 inches of snow. If we get a foot of snow in this area, I'm telling you, within 2 hours, roads are open, life goes on. As a matter of fact, with all that snow, by the next morning, the morning of the 26th, roads were open. We're just accustomed to it, okay? They get an inch of snow in Atlanta. They don't have the, or anywhere down in Dixie, they don't have the equipment. The drivers don't have the experience. So I guess an inch or two of snow is kind of like, you know, 3 feet of snow to us up here, to them down in Dixie. We're accustomed to it. We've got the equipment, and it doesn't take long for life to get back to normal. So how it affects us today, I don't know. It is what it is. Could it happen again? Yeah, it can. You know, you probably have seen in the news over the past couple of years, I believe there's been 2 Bills games that had to get moved. I know one had to get moved to Detroit. I think another one was postponed because they simply couldn't get the stadium cleared out. Now down there, that's the snow belt. And they measure it in feet down there, not inches. They get a ton of snow. Not so much for us up here, but it does happen. I would love to know how the 2038 would have done in that storm. I really would. I have to be honest, I'm kind of looking forward to a big snowstorm just to see what this tractor can do. But in the meantime, I just in general wish for snow. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but if you don't like snow, you're living in the wrong spot if you live up here, because we get snow. We really do. Thank you so much for joining us. This was fun for me. I enjoyed looking back and thinking about what I would do differently and so on and so forth. I hope you enjoyed it. And God bless you all, and we'll see you next time on Tractors in Life.